Hi everybody. I'm back again. Yeah, sorry about not being there on Friday, but as you'll soon find out, um, I'm just getting over like massive whatever this is. I don't know what it is, but it is not happy. So I am gonna do what I can tonight. But I really, really want to get through this story so I can do the breakdowns and I can start working towards getting a story published. um, One of the things I did notice over the weekend though, I did like some review of it, like the from what I have from like chapters 1 to 12, and I went over that over the weekend and kind of got an idea of how I'm going to proceed from there, which it's going to be I'm planning on actually having sorry, my brain is just like not all there right now. um we're planning on doing stories. Sorry, kitten still. I'm planning on doing POVs of everybody. So just to get an idea of the characters, because these aren't my characters or my dad's characters. So in order for me to get a better idea of who they are and everything like that, I'm going to be going through each of the storylines of each of the people, and basically, say what kind of people they are, like talk about their timeline as it goes through the story. So yeah. Anyway, um, for those of you who are just tuning in, I am currently reading my dad's stories out loud as a way of being able to edit them and get an idea of what kind of like how they sound and any structural things I need to change. You may hear a lot of crashing and banging, and that is because there are currently two kittens in the room who are in the middle of exploring. That hopefully they are just exploring the room and they're not attacking me like they did last time. Both the last times. So yeah. So one might ask, why don't you simply close the door? That is just not possible at this particular point in time. It is a thing I'll be working on. Hopefully, maybe like for next week. Maybe, if I'm lucky. Anyway, without further ado, chapter 13 of The Sword and the Rose. So, as a quick recap as well, we just had the priest who had incited a murder was then executed. So this is right after that. The following morning, when the chief steward came to the baron's chamber for what had become the customary daily meeting, Guelsor had a question for him. Bralno, how is the Lady Brennan maintained? Through the barony funds, my lord. She has naught else. Not? Not even through her late husband? No, my lord baron. It was expected that the late baron would have given him a holding as soon as one was free, but he died too soon. And after that, the late baron maintained her as the mother of his heir. You might, of course, dismiss her to her father, but Patbin might well demand the return of the dowry. Father's boots, Fralno. Did you think I found her at a terrible expense? Not truly, my lord baron. But it seemed to be the direction in which your questions were leading. Guelser gave him a look. Well, you may assume that I do not grudge the Lady Brennan her living. Yes, my lord baron. The blacksmith's wife and her friend settled into their chairs against the wall in the sunshine. Oh, okay. Hold on, guys. I suppose you heard, Belda. The Baron and the Lady Brin be going riding together, and not just once in a while neither, but near every day. Velda's position in the castle brought her more of the inner gossip about and concerning the doings of the nobility. It was no surprise that she nodded at this, then carried it further. Oh yes, Aldithia, Ald Aldieth. That's been known for a time. That as you remember, as were ever so angry when first he come in. Now he up and took young Jedel for a page, though she pleaded for him not to, and now she be riding with him. But be fair about it, Velda. You mind as there such tales going around about that he may be wasting with a young boy? It's hardly to be wondering that Lady Brennan might be concerned over her son going to be a page for him. Velda nodded. That for be true and all, but young Jadal ain't suffered for it, has he? No, and if you want the truth of it, Velda, I'd say that young Jadal had much to do with getting them two together. How'd you see that? Well, look, she were afraid for Jadal at first, but Jadal took no hurt from the Baron, and if you listen to the boy, he be thinking the Baron be all the old heroes rolled up in one. And because of that, the Lady Brennan warms up toward him, and after all, beyond the loss of the left hand, he be a good-looking lad, and he be a baron as well, and with the king's favor. She might be doing worse than that for herself and her son. You think she'd be out to catch herself a baronet? Felda looked doubtful. Not that she'd really be knowing it just yet, Felda, but you mark me, she'll come to see it sooner or late. Guys, down. Now. Anya. Okay. Guys, get down. As I can tell. Kittens. Kittens. And also me having to clean up stuff. But now me also having to clean up stuff because of kittens. It's twofold. Frosteg watched his ruffian celebrate the midwinter feast. Excuse me. Okay, guys. Pardon me a minute. Vesta, come here. You guys. Come on. We're just going to call this kitten antics. But it's also my fault because my room needs to be cleaned up. And this is the hard way. This is how we do it the hard way. Okay, guys, come on. Both of you. Excuse me while I dress some young children who need to be removed. Did I mention I'm a consummate professional? Okay, everyone out. Come on. Scoot. Scoot. Go, go, go. No. Go. Go, go. Vesta. Okay. You say that now? We don't know. Thank you for those of you who are tuning in and watching me deal with kittens, particularly kittens who are adventuring into the depths of the mess that is my office. Anyway, I'm sure Stranger Things have been streamed. Tostig watched his ruffians celebrate the midwinter feast. They had a lot to drink and were now singing, rapping out the rhythm on the tabletop with spoons or dagger pommels. For this sort of festival, it was the rule that everyone left their swords outside the door. Outside the door. Damage enough could be done with the daggers used for eating, but drunken men and swords do not mix, he'd found. Well, Stinkmaker didn't come, did he? Didn't come, eh, Toss? No, he didn't. Not that I'd be sorry about it, mind. You see us having any kind of party with him sitting around in a corner somewhere? You even invited him, did you? Oh, that I did. Only plate, wasn't it? Midwinter is not something I celebrate, he told me, with superior smirk on his face. Just as well, Toss. For sure he put the glum on everything. Tostig laughed. Well, invite that wooden man Yehor. Oh, the two? He'd be more human. Now there's a thought. What do you suppose a wooden man would be getting drunk on? Sawdust? Manic roared with his own humor. The door of the back hall opened, and a man entered, wet, dirty, and obviously uncomfortable. He made his way to Tostig's table. Found him, he muttered. Bring him back? One of them. He drowned dead in one of the muck pools. The other? The man shrugged. Tracks led to the edge of the muck pond. He's probably still under. But you don't mean knowing for sure, do you? The man turned sullen. In this weather, it'd be hard enough to get out for a man as knows his way. The tracks lead to the edge of the muck pond, and it'd be near certain he'd be dead. Tostig had sufficient drink to be easy on the man. Go shuck 'em wet clothes and come back and see if there's any beer left. I hope you be learning something from this. A man's got to piss sometime. The bandit was defensive. And if two people ye be guardin' runs off while ye be pissin', he's got to make it good. Now go on. Manic watched the fellow go. That one'll be sticking a knife in you if he can get away with it. You've seen one or two of them try to get away with it, man. None's done it yet. And we don't be needing one of them farmers of ours getting out to tell some night how many we be, and how armed and so on. Not to kill a lot of them. Man, we talked about that one. Come spring, they can do the planting and like for us. Make things a bit easier. Father's boots and bloody shirt sleeves, Toss. Next, you be calling yourself Baron Tostig. Ease off a bit, will you, man? All I be doing is making us a little more comfortable. Any damn fool can be uncomfortable. Smart man's the one who figures out how to be less uncomfortable. Sounds of midwinter feast rang through the grand old castle. Lights, candles, torches were lit to welcome the sun back from its journey to the northern lands. Gwalstar looked around the hall again. Eric Dow was not there. You wouldn't be comfortable, Lord, the gnome had said. Not for me nor the people I'd sit next. Best I celebrate midwinter quietly by myself. The feast had been laid and eaten, and now the evening's entertainment was in full swing. There were acrobats, jugglers, players, and 2 mime troupes. Da, da, da. The one of the latter was indifferent quality. But the audience was not particularly critical. Warmed by the feelings of the season, the torches, and no little liquid refreshment, they roared with laughter, cheered, and jeered at appropriate points. More than that, they opened their wallets and tossed coins, which the entertainers frequently caught and stowed without interruption to their act. Flute players, harpists, and the like had apprentices or hired boys to scramble for the coins while the master continued to play. You know how to make a feast, well, sir, said Brennan with a smile. It's those long, cold winter nights in the north, Brennan. Sometime during their fall rides, they'd come to da 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 first term first name terms. One treasures feasts and celebrations and makes the most of them. A moment later, he was sitting bolt upright. Old one's mercy! Listen to what that fool is singing, or rather, do me a favor not to listen. The harper was now singing the fight at Gwilla's Hole, which had apparently become the storming of a mighty fortress. In the storming of this fortress, Gwalsor had cleared the ramparts well nigh single handed, braving swords, spears, arrows, and perhaps even clods of earth thrown in desperation at this terrible fighter. Britain laughed merrily. What a hero you are! Sorry, what a hero you are, my Lord Baron. Such a shame, though, that you left no room for anyone else in your band to perform any acts of heroism. Father's boots and belt buckle. If that fool thinks I'm going to reward him handsomely for this piece of trash, he'd best think again. Perhaps he should be the one to think again, Gwalsor. He turned and looked at her. What do you mean? If you don't pay him well for his song, he will pass word to other singers. And you know what the word'll be? I made him out to be twice the hero that Laneric Crook Thumb was in all the tales, and he was not satisfied. Excuse me. Okay, guys. Kittens. Out. Out. Coco. Okay. Nope. Come on. Vesta. Out. Come on. Okay. Anya. Come on. Nope. Vesta. Come on. Nope. Out. It is not a game, you guys. I guess maybe it is a game. There you go. Okay. Nope. That's my pen. Thank you guys. Nope. We're not killing the pen. Alrighty. If you don't pay him well for his song, he will pass the word to other singers. And you know what the word will be. I made him out to be twice the hero that Laneric Crookthumb was in all the tales, and he wasn't satisfied. So every singer, harper, and teller of tales who comes through will think he has to embellish his tales the more to try to please you. Roast if I walk and broiled if I fly, then? Well, I'm going to have to talk to Ralno to see if he lets it be known that Baron Gwalser of Grandel does not like to have his exploits overblown. She chuckled. Ah, but think of how fearful your enemies will be when they hear what a hero you are. Merely threaten to unsheathe that mighty sword of yours, and they'll be rushing to fling themselves at the fleet at your feet to beg for mercy. Ha! I've thought of a revenge, though. I'll pay this fellow well to go sing a song to Baron Warwick. Warwick's just the sort who would fly into such a rage he'd forget the traditional immunity of bards and harpers. Aha! Gwalsar, the hero who is also a deep schemer. He grinned at her. It'd work if I thought that man was that much of a fool. He won't sing any songs of Gwilla's hole at Warwick Castle, or if he does, it will be how bold the men of Baron Warwick were tricked and slain through some fool stratagem of Gwalsor Hookhand. Ah, that's better. Laugh at it. Many of the men here were with you, and most of them have heard the story, and everyone knows what happens to even a minor victory when the bards begin to sing of it. In the end, when the song was done, Gwalsor rose and tossed the man 2 copper coins. Yes, yes. My brain is thinking that too right now. That is for the truth that was in your song, Master Harper. There was a pause. Then, with a grin, Gwalsor tossed a small pouch with 10 silver coins in it, and 10 silver coins for the rest. Proportional payment, you might say. The harper bowed. My lord Baron is very generous. As he bowed his way out, a group of tumbling clowns came bouncing into the room. Brennan leaned over and said, You know, of course, that there will be those who misunderstand even the gesture you tried to make. He shrugged. I tried. That was all I could do. At last, several of those with less hard heads had staggered off or had been carried off by their servants, and Brennan said to Gwalsor, It's late. I should be back to my chambers. Would you escort me, Gwalsor? Gwalsor looked around. Several pages had attended in order to bear torches for people to return to their lodgings, but most had fallen asleep some time ago. Even Jadal, who had striven that valiantly. Oh my goodness, why can't I say valiantly? Who'd striven valiantly against sleep, sat slumped against the wall. Can you not come with me? Surely the hero of Willow's Hole is able to do as well as he wishes. He grinned again. Why, certainly. And if any giants, trolls, or goblins accost us, I'll simply remind them who I am, and they'll flee in terror. He took one of the torches and carried it in his right hand as they walked to her quarters. He noted with a little amusement that the guards who followed him seemed to have had opportunity to do more than sniff and had an ale mug that night. Winter feast, let them enjoy it as they can. He didn't bother to look too closely into the shadows, but he was fairly certain that Malga, still more sober than anyone present, was following after them. He stuck the torch on the tip of his hook in order to have his right hand free to open the door. They stepped into the antechamber, and she opened the inner door. "Come inside, Gloucester." He stepped forward and stopped. "But my lady." She took the torch from his hook and set it in a sconce. She wrapped her arms around him and kissed him. "My lady, this is. Don't be a loony. Don't you think they've been talking about it since we started riding together? And it's not as if I have a virginity to protect. Or do you have some strange secret vice I'd be better off not knowing?" By which time it was much easier to stop talking altogether. That's such an awkward sentence. Alrighty. So that is chapter 13. With the exception of the kitten attacks that are continuing to go on. My foot is currently being savaged by a small black kitten. Hello, Anya. Um, yeah, I'm gonna have to like make changes to the setup here, aka I'll have to have a more private area where no kittens are present because they are they want to play while I'm sitting here. So anyway, I hope that wasn't too distracting for you guys. I appreciate you tuning in regardless, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow. So without further ado, I'm going to let you go while I try and rein in small furry creatures. Thank you like that. Thanks again for tuning in. I will talk to you again tomorrow with chapter 14 and hopefully less interruptions. Okay. Good night.